do feel so lost and so hopeless. I've been saying this forever. I need to quit my job. I need to quit my job so badly. But the fear of the unknown is just too scary to me. Hi. I quit my job. Oh my gosh, I was not in the mood to make a video, and then I got on here and suddenly I'm excited. Guys, it's true. The rumors are not rumors. I did in fact quit my job. I literally never thought this day would come. I quit my job. This is the first time I'm actually processing it. I quit my job. It's actually been months. It's been, what's today? Oh, it's almost June. Oh my gosh. It's been almost it's been 3 months. I think it's been about 3 months. I was working as a freelancer from the moment I graduated from college till I got my job, my in-person first time being in corporate job at a very popular company. I felt very proud of myself. It was an achievement for sure. I felt great being able to say I worked at the place that I did. And I don't want to say it because it's not that important to the story, but I worked at this place that I'd been dreaming about. I literally, in my brain, when I thought about where I wanted to work and where I wanted to be, it was this exact company. It wasn't the exact role, but it was this company. And I was like, heck, I don't really care what I'm doing as long as I'm at this company. The weird thing that happened when I started working there is I hated it. And I think this happens a lot just in general when you sort of fantasize about something for so long. And when you create this image of something, this thing that you're like, this thing, if this happens, it will change my life. Like, if this one thing happens, everything will be okay. And I put that pressure on this job, and then I finally got it, and it literally changed my life for the worse. It changed my life for the worse. And that sounds very dramatic, but I think because I was at this place where I told myself I wanted to be, and where I spent so much of my time and energy, honestly, for like a couple of years prior to getting the job, to get there, only to be met with disappointment. I felt like, well, what's the point? Like, what is the point of any of this? And granted, I was young, I was naive. A job is a job, and I don't know exactly. I actually can't really put myself in the mindset of where I was at before this job, but I was naive in thinking that any company was going to make me feel this way. Like, it's not where my values lie. It's never really been where my values lie. But for some reason, I was like this, especially because I was working in entertainment. I don't know. I was like, this is not like any regular job. It's going to be amazing. And in a lot of ways, it was amazing. I got a lot of really cool perks, and I got a lot of cool opportunities, and just being there was a cool opportunity. But something about being in the corporate landscape, I think, just will never work for me. And so I left, and literally everything's been better. Yeah, I guess the main thing I wanted to talk about was why I quit my job, and also how I did it with basically no plan, and then how I'm doing now. Place I worked. Why did I hate it so much? The people I worked with were built for corporate life. everything about it they loved. I feel like, just based off of how they operated within this space. But I couldn't help but feel, aside from the fact that I was the only Black person on my team, which will do a lot to you mentally, especially because, again, I was freelancing for so much of my life and I was not talking to anyone who like wasn't very intentionally in my life. Like, because I'm working from home on my own time, the people who I'm hanging out with are the people I want to hang out with. So being around people who I don't usually hang out with and I don't even see that much of was so jarring. Just very different mindset. Made me feel like I was speaking a completely different language every single day. I'd go in and I literally would just not talk. It made me feel like how I did when I was in elementary, middle school, where I just would go days without speaking. I felt like I was back there. Everything, like, they would say something and I just would not understand it. Like, genuinely felt like I was speaking a different language. I wouldn't understand whatever they were talking about. I would say something coming from a completely different cultural, social reference, and they wouldn't get what I was talking about. So it was this weird game. And aside from that, like, it was so cliquey, at least when I first got there. Eventually, I was, like, you know, accepted, and I was, like, seen as one of them. But when I first started, it was really, really bad. I remember going in one day, and I struggle a lot with social anxiety, so that's one thing. But I remember going in pretty early on, and it was this really, really awkward scenario where it was lunchtime and, you know, new kid, like, where do you sit at lunch? I could have been normal and just been like, hey, you guys, what are we doing for lunch? But again, I struggle so badly with social interactions. So the way my desk was set up, so it was like me, the person behind me, and then the other side of that was another person, and then another, like, cubicle of 4. So I'm on one side. This person who's on the other side of the cubicle goes and says, hey, you want to go to lunch? They're like, yep. Goes to the other person, hey, you want to go to lunch? Yep. Goes around past me into the person who's behind me in the cubicle, behind/next to me. They're like, hey, you want to go to lunch? They're like, yeah. They get up and they go. And I remember literally just calling my mom and sobbing, which sounds so dramatic, but I didn't know what to do. Again, I'd hyped this place up so much in my mind and then went in with so much anxiety. And for that anxiety, like, you know, if you are someone who struggles with their mental health or self-esteem or anxiety, anything that confirms your negative feelings, you're gonna latch on to. So I'm over here and then I'm anxious about these social interactions, and then my teammates are like confirming all of my nerves, right? By being like, hey, do you want to go to lunch? To everyone except for me. Immediately I'm like, yep, they hate me. I kept to myself for months. I just didn't really talk very much. And something shifted at some point because we had interns, and I think for the first time I felt like, oh, people I could relate to. They were about my age. One was a bit younger, one was a little older. And I was just like, oh, finally. And that like changed everything for me, where I felt a little bit more comfortable finally. I was like talking a little bit more, showing a little bit more of my personality. But that initial feeling of just isolation put me in like a cage, a little cage that I felt like I couldn't come out of. And aside from that, so many microaggressions. Again, my team was very, very nice. But I think when you are a white person, you cannot help it sometimes. Like, it's so embedded into your brain that it just comes out without you even realizing it. And I had so many little things like that where it was just like weird small comments. I wish I wrote them down. I say this to myself all the time, where like I feel like I'm gaslighting myself all the time because I'm like, wait, no, I promise like this thing happened to me. Like I feel it. Like I remember the feeling of it, but then I cannot think of examples. So I'm like, maybe it didn't happen and maybe I'm being dramatic, but I know it happened. Little microaggressions here and there, feeling like I didn't understand anybody, just feeling so isolated the entire time. And I like would sob. I would like cry to everyone about it for years, even after the point where I felt a little bit more comfortable. I just couldn't help but be like, I can't do this. Aside from the social aspect, the work was so repetitive, and it was so, I think like being in that setting feels so demoralizing and so minimizing of who you are, because like you're truly just a cog, and like they don't care about you. At the end of the day, if it is between you and like the company, they're gonna pick the company, and you can feel that. It's in everything, in every interaction, every project. You can feel that lack of care. I don't know how anybody does it. Some people are just built for it, I guess. Not me. I'm not built for it. Literally at some point when you are shrunk down to kind of like meaning nothing, I literally felt like every interest I had gone. I would come back from work at the end of the day, and I have so many hobbies. I love to do so many things. I couldn't. All of my interests disappeared. I would complain to everyone, but I would never do it. I worked there for 2 years. I was at this place feeling this way, feeling all of my personality stripped away from me, all of my interests, my goals, like everything. I could just feel it being taken away from me because I felt like nothing. I felt like a nothing person, but I couldn't leave. And I feel like it's so easy to convince yourself that you can't leave. And a lot of the times it wouldn't be wise to leave, but sometimes it's just necessary. This is not advice. Do not take advice from me. But I'm saying, I feel like the things that I kept telling myself were the reasons why I couldn't leave, or financial stability. I'm like, I have not only money coming in every other week, but I also have insurance, and I also have free food. I actually was like, if I leave this place, not only am I ungrateful, but I'm stupid. Because the benefits were so good. Like the benefits were genuinely amazing. But that's what they want you to think. That's how they get you. That's literally how they get you. It's like, why would you leave? Like this is amazing. People dream of having these types of work situations, which is true. They do. And I know I had it good, but I was like, why at the end of the day do I feel like I would rather be in a ditch than coming in here every day? It was crazy. After each day, I would go from my office to my car and literally go, the biggest sigh would escape from me. Like I'd been holding my breath the entire day, which is so crazy. That's so crazy to like not even consciously know that I'm so on edge and I'm so anxious that I let air out at the end of my day when I'm in my car. I felt like, what am I going to do next? I literally have no clue what I'm going to do next. I'd been applying to jobs for like the entirety of my time being there because I just was so excited to leave. I'd been applying for jobs. I didn't get anything. No interviews, no nothing. Also, because this company was sort of a marker of success, I felt like I would lose a little bit of my credibility to some extent by leaving. Every single time I told someone where I work, they were like, wow, like you made it. Great job. You literally did it. This is people's dreams to be here. And I was like, yeah, this is people's dreams to be here. I can't do that. Like, I can't leave when so many people want to be here. That would be crazy. I also just feared like I feared that I would regret it. I thought if I leave, I'm going to look back and be like, what were you thinking? Yeah, sure, you felt anxious every single day and you felt like a smaller version of yourself and you felt like you weren't growing or progressing in any type of meaningful way. But what if you regret it? What if you miss it? What if you miss it? There's free food. So I had all these things telling me that it would just be a terrible, dumb, stupid idea. But at the end of the day, I kept having this itch in the back of my head. And I think so many people have that and they can't really explain it, where they're just like, I cannot be here anymore. But I also knew, I think, at the same time that all of the times where I got really, really close to quitting, I was like, it's just not time yet. And it wasn't. I remember I almost quit in October of last year, but then I was like, no, it's not time. I felt like when I was at my wit's end, I would know. And I think I was close, but I wasn't fully there yet. And around January, I came back from winter break, so I'd been gone for a little bit. The LA fires happened. I also got out of a relationship last year that I was still working through. I just, in general, kind of had this moment where I was looking at my life and thinking, what is important to me? I don't know. I was just like, wait, what am I doing? And during that time, I was like, I can't go back in there. I actually cannot go back in there. And that's when I knew, if I have to go back into this office one more time, I am going to myself in the head, which is not actually true because I had to go back in, obviously, to quit and then do the whole rest of the thing. But I think knowing that information felt so like I felt like, I don't know, I felt elated and also like light and like free because I was like, it's time to do it. And then I felt that, and then I set a day when I was going to do it. And then on that day, I like cried to my mom on the phone. And I was like, I can't do it. This is stupid. And my mom told me when she was, I don't know how old she was, when she was younger, she had me and my sister. She had 3 kids, and she had a mortgage. And she had been working at a company that she absolutely hated for 4 years. And she hit a point where she was like, I can't do this anymore. And so she quit. She told me that on the phone, and I don't know why I'd never heard this story before, but I was like, oh. And again, there's a lot of privilege that's coming with me saying this. There are a lot of people who are not able to just quit their job and who are also living paycheck to paycheck. And so I'm not saying this to be like, yeah, everyone, just quit your job when you're not feeling it. No, obviously. But I am saying, if you are in a position where I had savings, I have savings, I don't have anyone I'm responsible for, I am in my 20s, I'm still figuring out my career, like, if there is a time to do it, it was now. This might be impossible, like, when I'm 40-something, deep in my career, maybe children. My fears of not having money coming in and not having the title or not having a I guess, normal career trajectory, all of those things at some point became less important than my mental health, because at the end of the day, none of that really matters if I don't even want to be here anymore. And I got to that point. What else matters? Like, nothing. I finally got, I feel like I'm gonna cry. I finally got to this point, and I told my boss I was ready to leave, and he was so nice about it. And everyone was very sweet and very like, we're gonna miss you. And I also was like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna miss you guys too. It's weird because I wanted to leave so bad, but like I also like ached a little bit for this time of my life, because it was 2 years of my life at the end of the day. It was time to go. I had to go. Gotta go my own way. Like, if you're in a position similar to me and I don't know, you're just like, I literally, my will to live is dwindling. Maybe quit your job. Quit your job. Quit your job. Okay, fine. I said it. Quit your job. And like, I don't know, maybe this concept is not so revolutionary, but I literally, I've been so by the book my entire life. And I like never do anything I'm not supposed to. That's another thing I think that was eating at me. I like don't do things I'm not supposed to. So quitting felt like wrong and bad, but like it's not. I literally quit, no job in sight. And I kind of, here's at the same time. So I did prep a little bit for myself, just trying to give myself some semblance of a cushion so I could have a soft landing from this big jump. But I I started trying to pick up freelancing jobs again while I was still working at my old company. And then I also applied for schools, 2 schools, one in France and one in the US. I got into both of them, which is amazing and was not guaranteed. So now I'm like, okay, great. I have something else I'm doing. Like I have school as an option. Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm a very spiritual person, and I believe in sort of life giving and taking and karma and yada, yada, yada. And I think that feeling that I had where I was just like, okay, it's time. It's time. I think that feeling was strong enough, as well as my wonderful mother's words and my encouraging friends and everything else. I had the confidence to leave, and I think since doing that, I've been rewarded with, okay, here's your next thing. You're going to school now. Or you're gonna have time to rest now. I was not resting. Like I literally didn't know what to do with myself. And yeah, nothing about my decision I regret. I don't regret it at all. I think I get scared still sometimes, but I think that this was the only way this could have gone for me. It was my only option because I couldn't be there anymore. If you're in a place like me where quitting could be an option, but you're scared of the unknown, I think life has a way of showing up for you in times where like you don't even really know how, or like you don't really know what's going to come up. I think you be smart, right? Like plan ahead, do your due diligence. There are other options. There are other options for you. People will make it sound like there aren't, but there are other options. So quit your job. Maybe. If you can. If it feels right for you. I would love to hear about your like work situations, and how long have you been working at where you work? Why do you want to leave? I'm assuming you want to leave if you clicked on this. If not, why is your job great? Tell me about it. Because I think I also I don't really understand the idea of like a job like you love, but I know it exists because people have them. So tell me about it. What's your job? Why do you love it? Or why do you hate it? I'm curious. It's been a very, very interesting year for me, and I feel like I've just been like throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. Genuinely, that's such like a perfect analogy to describe how I've been feeling. It felt irrational, and it kind of does still feel irrational because I kind of don't really know what I'm doing, but I think there's something really exciting about life when you're kind of operating on, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just kind of like seeing what happens. I'm also doing it in a very calculated way. I'm really not even that crazy about things, but I'm being a little bit crazy, I feel. I don't know. I don't even know how I'm gonna pay for school. Like this is just so, one, unlike me, and two, like I'm just like, let's see what happens. Follow your gut. I think it's very possible to do what you want in this life, and I feel like you kind of have to. Like, this is your life. It's nobody else's. It's yours. Quit your job. Hit him with your car.
Hit him with your car!
Yeah. Alright, thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Your honey water wine, you make me warm inside.